M.A.S.K, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Hey everybody, it's Bill from Matt-Trakker.com, and on this episode of Behind the Mask, well, I'm both happy and sad because we have issue number 4 of M.A.S.K 85, a self-produced comic by just a dedicated fan by the name of Brian. Well, it's the last episode in the series though, out of 4. If you want to read them, go to Matt-Trakker.com, right in the top bar. M.A.S.K 85. You can read all 4 episodes, series, whatever you want to call them, right there. They capture the essence of what we grew up with, but also with a modern spin without alienating the people that really cared about the series growing up. That's my take on it in a whole. If I was going to give you a synopsis of it in a kind of a brief paragraph, that's it. So Brian, I can't wait to talk to you on a Behind the Mask coming up. But I'm gonna raise a beer to you here, and whatever you have in front of you here right now, raise it up to Brian. Give him a cheers, because he did this on his own. He did this because of his passion, because of his ingenuity, and without people like Brian, and without people like you, the fans, who keep coming back and keep the hope alive that a movie will come out. Oh, excuse me. And without that, we have nothing. I've done all I can over the years, and I'm not a savior. I'm not a martyr. I'm not anything. I'm just a crazy fan who... Crazy? Yeah, definitely crazy. Who wants to see this keep going. I want to see new iterations. I want to see this for not only myself, but for my like everybody's grandchildren. I want that generation, not just children. I want grandchildren to be able to experience this in a new iteration. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I just hold out hope. With that being said, again, Brian, to you. I let that get a little warm. Still good. Kind of. That's the moral of the story. Hasbro and Paramount. Don't let things linger too long. Gets bad after time, right? With that being said, I'm going to take another sip, so 1 second. So, over a few months span, Brian, you've put together your own story, start to finish. You introduced a flashback that showed a young M.A.S.K and a young Andy. You've introduced very unique covers. You've introduced your own take on some of the characters in this, and I just, again, I have to say bravo. Like, I'm not just saying it because of the fact that it's nostalgia and it's M.A.S.K. You actually had some very good storyline, very good dialogue. And that's just not even including the artwork. The artwork's fantastic. Between your normal job and raising your family, you put this together. It's just a testament. And I can only thank you so much. And I hope that the M.A.S.K community and just people that love nostalgia in general are letting you know just how good your work is. But let's dive into this here. Let's take a look at the cover. When I was starting to talk about issue 3 a little bit, I started talking about the cover. And you had given me a glimpse of the cover for this one. So I was almost getting ready to start talking about it, but I pulled myself back. Because this one is my favorite out of the 4 that we have. So, not just because it's Matt, right? What you've done here is you've taken the M.A.S.K 85 out of its small logo enclosure, and you have it taking over and encompassing everything here. Matt is jumping into the fray here, where you just don't know what's going to happen. And even though you have the backgrounds of the vehicles superimposed there, you could tell that Matt's jumping into danger, and it's really not going to work out for him, or maybe it will. Who knows, right? So let's jump into this, and let's take it from here. Now, I've read this over once, so I might slow a little bit on some of the pages just to make sure I get some of the wording right. But I have a general idea how I'm going to talk about this already. But I want you to know that I read it, and I want to keep it fresh because I want my reaction to be genuine and not something scripted. Yeah, let's take it from there. So as I scroll, now one thing I want to ask in the episode that you and I talk is I want to know if the face of this reporter is anybody that is important to you in your life, because it translates through the episodes. I keep calling them episodes through the comics. I was just curious. That's all. I know because in issue 3 you had a great cameo from a very handsome M.A.S.K fan, and I was just curious if that person meant anything to you as well. I obviously don't mean anything to you, but maybe I do. I don't know. That's up to you. But I was just curious because a lot of times when an artist draws faces like this, they're usually pulling from encounters in their life. So I was just curious. So we'll get to that. So on this page here, we kind of get an overview where Mayhem and Vanessa are talking about their plan. Same thing on the next page here. You can get a little shot here of Vanessa and Mayhem talking back and forth, where pretty much you kind of get the sense that Mayhem just wants destruction, or mayhem. Ah, I get the name now. I get it. I've always gotten it. Just kidding. But the persona has always been there. And the funny thing is that when you're Andy, you're with a guy named Mayhem, and he looks like that, I would question him. If you have matter of fact, if you have a coworker right now, not Brian in general, anybody, if you have a coworker, his last name's Mayhem, and he looks anything like that, question him. Also send me pictures, because he might be onto something. See, we kind of jump down here a little bit, and we get a shot here of some of the M.A.S.K team talking here, and Matt gets into the point where he recognizes the fact that the team did fine. It was him that failed. And some people might read this pain here with Dusty about cold pizza and think that's a failure. But to be honest, I like pizza better cold than I do hot. I'm sorry if that offends you at all, but that's just me. But we kind of get, a shot there of Matt being the leader that he's coming to be in this series, where he doesn't throw anybody under the bus. He admits his faults. He brings people up when he can, and it's been personified throughout this entire series. We get to the next page here, and we have Hondo in the jail cell talking with Sly and Dagger here, basically kind of justifying what they're doing, where it's all right now illegal, except for the fact that you still have good versus evil, and that's why they're in jail and Hondo isn't. The panel work is fantastic here. I'm trying to think if well, you know, it would be really funny actually if there was some, I don't know how you would translate it in the comic pane, but some way for them to get into the jail like through the trap door, like in Boulder Hill here, where the toys fall through. That would have been funny, but I'm not gonna fault anything for that. I don't know how he would do that. Cliff says he has rights, but I don't think he does. So in this next page here, you know, it's more banter back and forth. But interesting enough, when Hondo's called, they use his codename Striker, which isn't the codenames aren't really known that much outside of people that own the original like annuals for the comics. The names weren't really used that much, so you wouldn't know that unless you had that. So you wouldn't get that unless you were a diehard fan, which I liked that that was put in this, just because of the fact that it's not relatively known. I also like that Blaster 1 is what was used here. A lot of people that I talked with actually said something about maybe the Blaster 2 mask being in this, but I like Blaster 1. Even though Blaster 2 is probably easier to draw, Blaster 1 brings back the nostalgia a little better, in my opinion. So here, we get a little cameo shot. So we have a fighter pilot, and if you can kind of gather who this is, he might drive a conversion van a little later on that, you know, turns into a little mobile jet station there. But you get a little shot here. The pilot gets shot down. And we'll come back to that in a second. But yeah, so we come back here. We have Brad Turner with his mullet right here. See, got the mullet going. See, he's all business in the front here, and he's party in the back. But we have the team talking about what they need to do in order to get going with this element here. And from the looks of it, it looks like they're talking right outside of Rhino from the side panel here. And well, Buddy is talking about the fact that he could take control of the things, you know, all the different stations again, but he's got to get back to a certain point. So that's going to be part of the storyline here. So Matt, being, you know, the leader he is, gives a little speech here. Tonight, the fate of the country may very well rest in our hands. I know this is a lot more than you all signed up for, and I wouldn't blame you if you walked away now. That being said, ... actions often speak louder than words, Matt. So there was a pause. So Alex and I are going to see if we can follow up on reports of the Manta taking out every jet in the sky. I like how Manta was referenced as the Manta, because that makes more sense to me when you're talking about it, as you know, you're reading something but talking about it. It makes more sense to have that prelude to it. That's just me though. So we go back down here. So if you remember, the Spectrum mask was busted, but right now Matt's got his, you know, he's got his Spectrum jumpsuit on, and it's not fully up to power, but it's going to be better than what he has. So we get out here, and we're greeted with the fighter pilot, and you can kind of make out a little bit here. And if you know if you know M.A.S.K agents. That is Ace Riker, not an agent yet, but soon. But you can see that even though the M.A.S.K team is working off not military standards right now, you can see that he wants good to win. So obviously Ace, the original Ace here, not the Argentina Aces that I have here, he's on the side of good, and he wants to see that through. So now we see Buddy and Matt getting ready to penetrate. Yeah, why not? Penetrate the original Boulder Hill headquarters. And, you know, Matt talks about the fact that it's not something that you can really get into. But with Buddy's mask, just like that. That wasn't a Thanos snap either. That was him getting inside. See, but you also have Clutch as the code name, and then you have Hunter as a code name for Matt, which is rarely ever seen or used. So it's a nice little tidbit that was worked in there. So now we come here, and what you're going to see is, if you have read these comics, you know that this, so you can't see me pointing at it, but the red here indicates something bad is going to happen or is happening. When you have that kind of, you know, that sign there. But so we see Switchblade getting ready to fly off, and well, Mayhem kind of takes it under his own accord to just try to figure things out and get things done. It's a testament to his leadership qualities, which he doesn't have many. He commands respect based off of terror, but he's not a good leader. You know, if you're leading a band of criminals to enforce your rule over them, all you have to do is be the worst of the worst. But in order to lead in general, it's not going to work, and that's where the differences are between M.A.S.K and Venom in this series, for me anyway. Matt leading and up and coming because he sees the human side, of these elements, where not only does he believe in his team, but he also looks down on himself, and he realizes all those things, and he's able to lift himself up. Mayhem's just straight out crazy. But here you have Switchblade jumping in, and with Thunderhawk, so you know it's kind of funny that the fact that well, I'm pretty sure this is Brad in here. Let me double check this. So what this was, so Thunderhawk wasn't really in use. So Brad has Matt on the back of Condor, and is projecting Hocus Pocus down to trick Mayhem. I was tricked. I actually forgot off the first read that was what was happening, so it's pretty cool. It's cool to see that, and it's cool that the artist showed how it differentiates between live and Hocus Pocus, but also the fact that you can see how it's easily able to be like mistaken if you're in this panel itself trying to fight these guys. So let's see here. All right, so Mayhem is running around. Matt asks Buddy if there's a hang glider feature, on the Spectrum mask. But if it doesn't work, it's suicide because the mask isn't at full power yet. It's at that point. So Matt jumps out. He's yelling, "Hang glider on, hang glider on." And we get this cool shot here of everybody where it finally turns on, thankfully. That would have been a odd way to end your storyline here. Hang glider on, hang glider on. As a comedic reference, that would have been funny. But I'm kind of glad that happened. So Matt is able to get in and, well, yeah, kind of see what happens here. Matt's able to get in, get Viper, off Mayhem, punches him right in the damn face. And the cool thing is here is that you get to see Matt pilot Switchblade, which I don't think ever happened in the show. Scott did in one of the early episodes, I think, when it was on the ground, but I don't think Matt ever flew it, so that's a cool little feature there. We see Vanessa here hiding in plain sight with a nice beer. We see Matt kind of talking about how everything came back together. We see Ace getting a minivan, and we also see the front of Firefly here, and we see Andrew Trakker, his tomb, or his gravestone here, and then so here's a pretty cool thing here. So the funny thing is I just did an interview with Larry Leon, who was the singer, vocalist, whatever you want to call it, of the English version of the theme. And as I stated in the interview, I know some of the weird, the words are a little hokey, but I still love them all. And Brian puts Brad singing the song here at the end, which is pretty cool. So, and it looks like, I think the guy from the first episode, I keep saying episode, the first comic, it was at the gas station. Looks like he made it there too. So that's good. So you see here, fire away, and then he's getting a call. So that just tells you that it's not done. It can't be done. It can't be done! I know you have other ideas and other projects you want to work on. And I just hope the fact that whatever you were hoping to get out of this, you achieved. The fact that it came out of nowhere when you first started throwing it out there, I was ecstatic, and I still am. And I'm going to read the last page here because of the fact that it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the fans that you did this. So I'm going to read this here just as a testament to what you did. Seriously, thank you so much to everybody who read M.A.S.K 85. I pushed it out as fast as I possibly could, and I hope it didn't sacrifice too much quality in the process. No, did not. In fact, I might have to print them out, store them with my other comics. So that'll be a little later. This was written and drawn between being a full-time father, husband, and an art teacher. My oldest daughter, who is 5, will be happy that my tablet time won't be interfering with our dollhouse time anymore. So I mentioned before earlier in the beginning that you're doing all this around your life, and it means, again, it means so much that that you did this, that you sacrificed your own time to put this together. No profits. Maybe you've gotten work out of it. Maybe somebody saw what you did and say, hey, I want to hire that guy. But the simple fact that you did this because of your passion, it just speaks volumes. I'd like to give special thanks to Bill Ferris and Agents of M.A.S.K for being kind enough to host the series on the websites. No thanks necessary from my end. And I don't speak for Jason and Wyatt of Agents of M.A.S.K, but I'm pretty sure it'll be the same on their end. I've always loved their efforts to keep M.A.S.K alive, and if M.A.S.K 85 has helped do that, then I consider it a success. Yes, it has. And again, I can't wait to talk M.A.S.K with you. It's gonna be a fun time. Again, thanks to everyone who shared and retweeted the project. Who knows? Maybe I'll see you guys around for M.A.S.K 86. Now, Brian, I'm not going to share too much of your ideas for M.A.S.K 86, but I know you have them. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave until next time, leave it on a cliffhanger. But yeah, until next time, this is Bill from Matt-Trakker.com, and give it a read. M.A.S.K 85, 100% worth your time.